old, man. Yeah, chill. It's about AO3. Calm down. Oh, god damn it. Who's committing voter fraud now? Sasuke could eat a guy, but Hannibal could never perfect Chidori. Triple homo spike pass and kill them, Oikawa! These are the best, worst ships of all time. Both of these ships have a decent amount of mpreg. Well, it's wincest, not losest. So not too long ago, I talked about the top ships of AO3, the yearly review of what ships just completely take over fandom on popular fanfiction website Archive of Our Own, AO3. They're back! The unofficial top AO3 relationships bracket, to be precise. I say unofficial because with the way people are treating it, it very much feels official. The poll officially began on September 16th and ended on October 19th. And the fact that this is happening on Tumblr, the fandom epicenter of the 2010s historically, it just feels right, because a lot of AO3's historic ships were cemented in the Tumblr age, and we're really going to see just what top AO3 ships have had historical impact, and which of those impacts still linger around today. Welcome to the unofficial top AO3 relationships bracket. Many people on Tumblr might have engaged in the practice of shipping in relation to media. Some, according to legend, even have opinions on these matters. Shocking, I know. If the above happens to apply to you, you might be eligible to vote in this bracket. We have pitted the most popular pairings on Archive of Our Own against each other to see who will emerge victorious. This poll got nuts. Fans left Tumblr to gather their cavalry on other social media fandom websites and then came charging back in. And with all of the ships thrown into the mix, it is a chunky bracket with lots of different pieces of media. Some very old and some very new. Some are canon, some are not. It's like the whole kitchen sink of AO3 thrown into a battle royale. And I'm gonna be taking you right into the action with me. According to the FAQs, the bracket was based off of the data from Center of These Lights' annual ship reports, which were the exact same spreadsheets that were in my video about it. It was edited to fit into a workable bracket, and matchups were seeded according to the number of works. We're talking about the top ships overall on AO3 of all time. Yeah, it's pretty juicy stuff. I myself have voted for a few of these brackets. Which ones? But not all of them by a long shot. And a lot of these ships I'm kind of just like, indifferent to, so I was happy to be a spectator. As to what types of relationships are on there, be it platonic or romantic, this poll features both. Just a reminder for the format, character A/character B means the relationship is romantic, and character A and character B means the relationship is platonic. It gets a little funky when you mix those two up. This is where it gets really interesting in my opinion though. So when asked about stances in regards to voter fraud or bribery or using bots to kind of boost your votes, this was the official response statement. Fight for your blurbos however your honor dictates, though we ask that you don't DDoS Tumblr and preferably do not commit any murders that can be traced back to us. So yeah, permission granted, anything goes. And because this is a historic poll of the top AO3 ships of all time, there are going to be some ships that may not be deemed very palatable or acceptable for a variety of different reasons, and the response to that is, this poll is a celebration of fandom history. We're aware that there are certain issues with many of the listed pairings and sources, but they are a part of that history. Please do not take this as an endorsement of anything included in the bracket and refrain from harassment. So yeah, just because certain ships are included in this poll or we're talking about them does not necessarily mean that we ourselves like or ship or endorse them. It's just, we're discussing history here. We're all here for a good time and see these ships pummel each other to the ground. They say it best. In general, please remember that this is intended to be a fun time for the wide community, which is fandom culture, and treat each other with respect. The fact that I intimately know, or at the very least am familiar with all of these ships, I don't know whether to laugh or cry, man. I haven't touched grass in years. No, that's the real scary part of this video, realizing just how much time you really spent online over the years. If you don't change your ways, viewer, this will be you. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. But before we begin, I'd just like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Happy Clinic. Listen, we're in the midst of a shipping battle royale. Someone's gonna be sent to the hospital. Happy Clinic is an engaging, fast-paced mobile game where you can run your very own hospital and treat patients around the world, all while following the juicy, drama-filled story of a resourceful nurse. Oh my god, is the nurse YN? Hire skilled doctors and engineer medical equipment to develop your clinics into advanced medical centers to provide healthcare in all sorts of exciting cities, from Oslo to London to Seoul. Depending on their ailments, patients will require different care, and that's where you step up to the plate. And with unique hospitals and countries all over the globe, the game never stops throwing new quests to tackle. As you go and complete levels, you'll receive coins and gems for upgrades, and also unlock memories that include fragments of the nurse's life, as well as patients' collections to never forget all of the people you've helped, and various fun limited time events. After reaching level 21, create or join a society with other players to get double the rewards. Not gonna lie, I've missed playing these types of time management games where you have all these objectives and you have to complete them within a certain time frame, but then more keep flooding in. So playing Happy Clinic has been super nostalgic for me, and the hospital setting is a nice refreshing take. And it's not as easy as it looks, because the more you advance, the more you have to juggle things like deciding what doctors to hire or what medical equipment to upgrade. It's a satisfying challenge, and it's so much fun for when you want to focus your mental energy on something that isn't stress-inducing. So if you're down to live your very own medical AU and give Happy Clinic a try, then download the game for free by clicking my link in the description, or use the QR code here to download Happy Clinic straight to your phone right now. By doing so, you'll receive an exclusive gift of 2,000 coins and 50 gems to kickstart your game and advance your hospital's lickety-split. Thank you so much, Happy Clinic, for supporting my content and the channel. Now let's get back into it. These brackets are seeded, by the way, which means that the heavy hitters, the ships with the most fanfics on AO3, are not going to be facing off right off the bat. We're gonna be working our way up to the big leagues here, but I do want to make a note that number of works or number of fanfics does not necessarily equate to fandom significance or ship significance or ship impact historically. Many of the OG ships that put fandom on the map and shaped it, molded it to what it is today, don't have a huge presence on AO3 just because they've been around for so long, and so a lot of the fics are kind of floating around in the ether of the internet and never made it to AO3. But nevertheless, they've withstood the tests of time and have decent numbers on AO3, enough to land themselves in this poll.
Round 1, fight!
For our first matchup, we have Jung Jungkook and Min Yoongi from BTS versus Fox Mulder and Dana Scully from The X-Files. Sugar Cookie versus the ship that gave us the term shipping. It's because back in the day when people were arguing about whether they wanted Mulder and Scully to be a couple, on one camp we had the no romos, or the people who just wanted them to be friends, and then on the other camp we had the relationshippers, or the shippers, the people who wanted Mulder and Scully to be romantically involved. Dun dun dun! While Sugar Cookie, which came from Yoongi's stage name Suga and Jungkook's name being shortened to Cookie, Sugar Cookie, unfortunately it did not stand a chance against Mulder and Scully. God, I forgot how much I miss X-Files. I watched it a bit in high school and college, really enjoyed the show because I love sci-fi, but I don't know, maybe it's time I revisit it after this poll. Next matchup, we have Eraserhead and Present Mike from My Hero Academia versus Bucky and Tony Stark from Marvel. And the winner in this matchup was Eraserhead and Present Mike, or Eraser Mike. 57-43. To be fair, Bucky and Tony both are involved in a bunch of other popular Marvel ships, so that's probably playing a role. Next matchup, we have our first romantic versus platonic bracket here. It's Harry Potter and Ginny Weasley from Harry Potter versus Eraserhead and Midoriya Izuku, or Deku, from My Hero Academia. I don't think the movies did Ginny and Harry any favors just because it felt very abrupt compared to the books. There wasn't a whole lot of build-up here, and the chemistry wasn't great, which may have been a contributing factor in Eraserhead and Midoriya winning this matchup at 57.3% versus Harry and Ginny's 42.7%. Love Deku and his collection of dads because his actual dad is nowhere to be found. Oh, he's busy working abroad somewhere? Okay. Next matchup, we have Akashi and Bokuto from Haikyuu versus Clint Barton and Natasha Romanoff from Marvel. Boku Aka versus Widowhawk, Black Eye, like, I've always seen it referred to as Clintasha or Clint Natasha. Boku Aka is one of the most beloved ships in Haikyuu. Like, you can have your quibbles over, oh, I want Kuro Ken versus Kurosuki, or I want Hinata and Kageyama, or Hinata and Atsumu. But a lot of people will agree, even if they don't ship it all the way, that Bokuto and Akashi together are cute. Sorry, Akashi! Clint and Natasha are kind of like the eternal side pairing in a lot of other big Marvel ships. And plus, after Age of Ultron, it was revealed that Clint has his own family, and so even though him and Natasha have like a history together and that he brought her over to the Avengers, I'm not as inclined to ship them. But all of these factors being put together, I was actually surprised that Clint and Natasha took this matchup at 55.1%. I suppose it does make sense because Marvel is Marvel after all, it's huge. But with Boku Aka having In Another Life, which is a fanfic for the two of them that got massively popular and completely blew up to the point where it's, I think, in the top 10 fanfics of all time on AO3, I'm surprised they didn't get higher than this. Next matchup, we have Bellamy Blake and Clark Griffin from the 100 versus Mycroft Holmes and Greg Lestrade from Sherlock. Ooh, well, go ahead and throw in your guesses. I'll give you a second. The winner between Bellamy Blake and Clark Griffin versus Mycroft Holmes and Greg Lestrade is Mycroft and Lestrade at 53.4% versus Bellamy and Clark's 46.6%. Sherlock takes this one. Next matchup, we have Hinata Shoyo and Kageyama Topio, Kagehina from Haikyuu versus Amity Blight and Luz Nocida Lumity from the Owl House. I love them both. It sounds weird to say, but they bring out like my maternal instincts. I want to feed them. Well, the winner between Kagehina versus Lumity is Lumity at 69.3% versus Kagehina's 30.7%. Honestly, I can respect this. There was build-up, there was follow-through, people were losing their minds. Yeah, as much as I love Kagehina, I am not mad about this one. Next matchup, we have Hux and Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, from Star Wars versus Jack Harkness and Ianto Jones from Torchwood. I miss these I haven't thought about them since my Tumblr days. Kylux, I'll be honest, not my favorite. I don't like Hux, so by proxy, any Hux ships are just not my cup of tea. With Jonto, spoilers for Torchwood real quick, people were pissed when Ianto died. There were petitions to bring Ianto back, people were sobbing. I rewatched that death scene over and over and over again, and it was one of my first instances of tragic gay ship doomed by the narrative. The winner between Kylux and Jonto is Jack and Ianto at 72.8%. A sizable margin indeed. Kudos, Jack and Ianto. Next matchup, we have Buck and Eddie from 911 versus Bakugo and Todoroki from My Hero Academia. Firefighters versus fire hazards. I remember feeling so befuddled when all this 911 stuff started popping up, like, I don't know who these people are. What the hell are these ships? Bakugo, Todoroki, and Izuku were doing kind of like a round robin, just dancing around each other for a bit in terms of their ships, climbing on the AO3 top ships list, but eventually Bakudeku became the top of those iterations. The winner between Buck and Eddie and Todoroki and Bakugo is Buck and Eddie at 62.4%. I am a little surprised, I won't lie, but I do know that this is happening on Tumblr, and 911 became really popular on Tumblr, so that makes sense. Next matchup, we have Jensen and Jared, who are the actors who play Sam and Dean on the show Supernatural, so Supernatural RPF, versus Tartaglia, aka Child, aka Ajax, and Zhongli from Genshin Impact. J2 versus Chili, Tartali, or Zongchi. This fun fact might melt your brain a little bit, but it's because of Jensen x Jared that we have Omegaverse. Yep, Omegaverse as we know it today originated in Supernatural RPF. The more you know. And I'll always be tickled by the early days of shipping Child and Zhongli when people would tag it as Chili, and so when you went into the Chili tag, you'd be seeing those two together, as well as just a bunch of chili pepper pictures and chili recipes. It was great. You've got your dinner plans and a show. The winner between Jensen and Jared versus Child and Zhongli is Child and Zhongli at 54.5%. Next matchup, we've got Kara and Lena, Supercorp from Supergirl, versus Kenma and Kuroken from Haikyuu. If memory serves, Supercorp is actually the #1 fem/ship on AO3. Oh, I love both these ships. So the winner between Supercorp versus Kuroken is Supercorp at 69.4%. Nice. Next up, we have Eddie and Richie from It, the movie, versus... Oh, I can never say these motherfuckers' names right. Enjolras and Grantaire from Les Mis. The Les Mis boys. Even though I never fell down the rabbit hole for these two, they were everywhere on Tumblr when I was in high school. Like sophomore year, peak Tumblr year for me, that was 2012? 2013? When the new Les Mis movie came out, these two just flooded my dash. The scenes where they're drinking together and when they die together, so many gifs. And then I remember Eddie and Richie getting really big when I was in college, which was when it came out. The winner between Eddie and Richie versus Enjolras and Grantaire, oh, the French are gonna hate me, is the Les Mis boys. Do you hear the people sing? Next matchup, we have Dan and Phil, or Fan from YouTube, versus Bilbo Baggins and Thorin Oakenshield, or Bilbo from The Hobbit. YouTube RPF versus a dwarf and a hobbit. I did appreciate Bilbo back in the day. The artwork was really cute. Yeah, but the fandom back in the day was no joke. Like, I went to VidCon in 2014 and 15. Lots of people walking around with little kitten whiskers, and I remember I was in line to meet John and Hank Green. But the line to meet Dan and Phil wrapped around the block, and people were lining up since like 2 in the morning. Crazy stuff, but their gaming channel recently came back after years of being on hiatus, so that was a nice little nostalgic surprise. The winner between Fan versus Thilbo is Thilbo at 63.1%. Go, Short Kings, go! Ooh, next matchup. All right, we have Blackbeard and Steed from Our Flag Means Death, Black Bonnet, versus Clark, Griffin, and Lexa from the 100, Clexa. Ooh, okay, Clark and Lexa has been around for a hot second. Like, they've been one of the long-standing fem/ships on AO3. But Black Bonnet came in like a wrecking ball and totally climbed AO3's top ship list. Both canon ships too. This is the first time it's happened in the tournament so far. The winner of Black Bonnet versus Clexa is Black Bonnet at 59.1%. They wear that ranking well. Next matchup, we have Iwaizumi Hajime and Oikara Toru, or Iwa Oi from Haikyuu, versus Dobby, aka Todoroki Toya, and Takami Keigo, aka Hawks, Dobby Hawks, Hot Wings from My Hero Academia. Iwa Oi have been the kings of Haikyuu shipping for a long time. They've been the #1 Haikyuu ship since I've joined the fandom, so at least since 2015. Dobby Hawks, though, is pretty popular, and for good reason. Their upbringings are foils of each other, their relationship with Enji, aka Endeavor. They're both attractive, they have a really fun ship name, Hot Wings, but I do feel like Iwa Oi has just a touch more history there. The winner of Iwa Oi versus Hot Wings is Iwa Oi at 50.3%. That is tight. Next matchup, we have Keith and Shiro, or Sheath from Voltron, versus Loki and Tony Stark, or Toki? Loni? From Marvel. Yeah, my body reacted when I started thinking about Clance versus Sheath again. The screenshot used for Loki and Tony, though, I am yelling. The winner between Sheath versus Loki and Tony is Sheath at 51.7%. Also pretty tight. Next matchup, we have Jung Ho Sok, aka J-Hope, and Min Yoongi, aka Suga from BTS, versus Clint Barton and Phil Coulson from Marvel. Yeah, I mean, when you throw BTS against Marvel, they're both juggernauts, but when we're talking lasting impact on AO3 here, Soap just doesn't really have that, unfortunately. But I feel that both of these ships are eternal side pairings in more popular ships in their respective fandoms, which is kind of funny. The winner between Soap and Clinton is Clint and Coulson at 81%. Not gonna lie, I feel so betrayed that there aren't any Homestuck ships in the tournament. Yeah, I feel like this is the reason too. Less concentration on a single pairing because of the large cast size, which eventually just disperses the hype for the ships. Putting your eggs in a whole bunch of different baskets versus just like, you know, 1 or 2 or 3. Next matchup, we have Gabriel and Sam Winchester from Supernatural versus Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki, or Sasunaru, from Naruto. Yeah, this one's not gonna be close. I know Supernatural is big, but Gabriel and Sam is not as big of a ship as other Supernatural ships out there, and plus Sasunaru was and still kind of is a lot of people's very first yaoi ship. All the AMVs made in Windows Movie Maker, all the fan art on DeviantArt, and 2 kisses to boot. Sasuke! The winner between Gabriel and Sam and Sasunaru is Sasunaru at 69.9%. Believe it! Next matchup, we have the platonic ship between Wilbur Soot and Technoblade and Tommy Innit and Phil Watson from the Dream SMP versus Kim Taehyung, aka V, and Min Yoongi, aka Suga, from BTS. Where are the Suga ships first? Yeah, sorry boys, I think BTS is gonna be taking a lot of L's in this tournament. They're on a hiatus, okay? And even though the Dream SMP has definitely cooled down in terms of fandom trendiness, as it were, the fact that a platonic ship between 4 people got as big as it did on AO3 is certainly noteworthy. The winner between Wilbur and Technoblade and Tommy Innit and Phil versus Sugate is the Minecraft Boys at 73%. Next matchup, we have Harry Potter and Snape from Harry Potter versus Steve McGarrett and Dano Williams from Hawaii 5-0. The fact that I remember watching Hawaii 5-0 every week with my mom, seeing those two pop up on AO3 for the first time was a little bit of a jump scare. The winner between Harry and Snape versus Steve and Danny is Steve and Danny at 80%. Next matchup, we have Eric and Charles Cherrick from X-Men versus Annabeth and Percabeth from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Both of these ships are so good. I was a hardcore Percabeth girl back in the day. Like, I'd be hunting for new fics of these two on fanfiction.net every day after school. When I hear Annabeth call Percy Seaweed Brain in the live action, I'm going to lose it. Cherrick is a classic X-Men ship. Old man yaoi. The winner of Cherrick versus Percabeth is Percabeth at 52.9%. Next matchup, we have Kim Taehyung, aka V, and Park Jimin, V-Min from BTS versus Levi Ackerman and Irvin Smith, Auri, from Attack on Titan. Fanfic aside, V-Min are platonic soulmates, and I love seeing their interactions together. But with Ururi, do they count as old man yaoi? Because they're not really that old. They're in their, 30s? Freshman year of college, they were my emotional support ship, which says something about my first year of college. So much fantastic fic and art for them. I do have the urge to revisit them every now and then, and I think it's gonna creep up once the new year begins. But the winner between V-Min versus Urui is Arui at 67.5%. Let's go! Next matchup, we have Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley, Hermione, versus Adora and Catra Dora, from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which is still hanging on as a constant on AO3's top fem/ships every year. Also both canon ships. The winner between Ron Miney versus Catra Dora is Catra Dora at 79.5%. 55%. I mean, they got a lot more flavor going on than whatever Hermione has cooking. They're British, I'm sorry, it's bland. Next matchup, we have Tubbo and Tommy Innit from the Dream SMP versus Frank and Gerard from My Chemical Romance. Ferrard, almost sounds like Ferrero Rocher. Ferrard, the Warp Tour is calling. And yet another instance of a platonic ship versus a romantic one. The winner between Tubbo and Tommy Innit versus Frank and Gerard, Ferrard, is Frank and Gerard at 63%. Next matchup, we have Levi Ackerman and Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan versus Captain Hook and Emma Swan from Once Upon a Time. Arari, not Urui, Arari versus Swan Hook. Pirate Swan. I was gonna say Swan Queen, but that is another ship. Captain Swan, that makes a lot more sense. They looked good together, goddamn. Yeah, if you ever take a look at the relationship diagram or like just the family tree from Once Upon a Time, your head's gonna spin. The winner between Levi and Eren versus Captain Swan is Captain Swan at 67.7%. Next matchup, we have Loki and Thor from Marvel versus Rodney McKay and John Shepard from Stargate Atlantis. Unfortunately, a show that I'm not terribly familiar with. The winner of Loki and Thor versus Rodney and John is Rodney and John at 55%. Next matchup, we have Steve Harrington and Eddie Munson, Steady from Stranger Things versus Rambo and Tubbo from the Dream SMP. Steady was the #1 ship on AO3 in 2023, so the winner between Steady versus Rambo and Tubbo is Steady at 62.9%. They didn't dominate as much as I thought they would. Next matchup, we have Ian and Mickey from Shameless versus Mia Atsumu and Sakusakyumi Sakuatsu from Haikyuu. Ooh, I love Sakuatsu, but they've been on a major come down. For reference, these two are side characters in Haikyuu. They interacted a handful of times and were on the same team post a time skip, but very little in canon supported them being shipped together, but nonetheless, people saw the potential they had, thought they looked good together, and thought their personalities were good complements for one another, and so they went from crack ship to one of the top 5 ships in Haikyuu. The winner between Ian and Mickey versus Sakuatsu is Ian and Mickey at 63.6%. Oh boy, now we're talking. All right, next matchup, we have the OG slash ship, the Big Daddy, Spurk, Kirk and Spock from Star Trek versus Oliver Queen and Felicity Smoke, Olicity from Arrow. Bye, Olicity. The winner between Spurk versus Olicity is Spurk at a whopping 94%. That's a landslide, and that's also where we see the voter number jump up. Next matchup, we have Bucky X Reader from Marvel, our first X Reader ship, versus Technoblade and Tommy Innit from the Dream SMP. That pic is just sending me, you get to be shipped with Bucky, you get to be shipped with Bucky, everyone gets to be shipped with Bucky. The winner of Bucky X Reader versus Technoblade and Tommy Innit is Tommy and Technoblade at 52.9%. Next matchup, we have Geralt and Jaskier, I can never say his name right, from The Witcher versus the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler from Doctor Who. Oh, Jerskier? I can never say these ship names. Very popular. I'm more fond of Yennefer and Geralt, but I can appreciate this ship. But Ten and Rose have so much history. The winner between Jerskier and Ten Rose is Ten Rose at 63.8%. Next matchup, we have the Evil Queen, Regina Mills, and Emma Swan, Swan Queen, from Once Upon a Time, versus Han Ji-sung and Lee Min-ho, or Lino, from Stray Kids. Swan Queen is great if you just think about them fighting over custody of Henry, and they're just like two moms. They just both love their boy. The winner between Swan Queen versus Han and Lino is Swan Queen at 87.7%. Another landslide. And for our last matchup of round 1, we have Blaine Anderson and Kurt Hummel Klaine from Glee versus Harry Potter and Tom Riddle, aka Voldemort, from Harry Potter. What a way to wrap up round 1, oh my god. The winner between Klaine versus Harry and Voldemort is Klaine at 75.1%. Alright, now we're entering round 2. And we haven't even seen all of the ships yet, because again, some of them are seeded because they have higher rankings. So we're gonna get a whole new deluge of ships that are pretty damn big on AO3.
Round 2. Fight!
First matchup of round 2. It is a big one. We have Fox Mulder and Dana Scully from the X-Files versus Castiel and Dean Winchester from Supernatural. Mulder and Scully versus Destiel first on the docket. That is rough. Like, on one hand, we have the ship that gave us shipping. On the other hand, we have Tumblr's golden child and the ship that broke the internet when it became canon. It is also the #1 ship on AO3 of all time. So with this fight, it's kind of like the historical significance and punch versus the explosive impact. It's gonna be close, I'll tell you that. The winner of Mulder and Scully versus Destiel is Mulder and Scully at 53% with over 51,000 total votes. So this one was a doozy. Scully and Mulder beating Destiel on the Destiel website? Not gonna lie, this is embarrassing, but also funny as hell. Mulder Scully is the only ship allowed in this rotting world, not gonna lie. My beloved goofballs, oh how I adore them. Oh look, the canon ship beat the fake one. Ow! Still kind of saw for them, even though I was writing Scully x Obi-Wan Kenobi by the end. What? I'm more or less indifferent to Destiel just because I was never really a Supernatural girl. Like, I watched some of the show, and I know enough about the ship through osmosis on Tumblr to be like, oh, that's why people ship them. But, I mean, I don't love them, I don't hate them, they're just kind of like, there. They're kind of like that family member at a family gathering where you're like, oh hey, what's up? How's life? Okay, bye! Next matchup, we have Eraserhead and Present Mike, or Eraser Mike, from My Hero Academia, versus Wilbur Soot and Tommy Innit from the Dream SMP. Romantic anime boys versus platonic Minecraft boys. Who will win? The winner between Eraser Mike and Wilbur and Tommy is Wilbur and Tommy at 50.5%. Very, very, very close. Okay, next matchup, we have Eraserhead and Midoriya Izuku from My Hero Academia versus Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood from Shadowhunters. Still will never forget the fact that Alec's name was blacklisted on Tumblr for some reason during the great band tags drop. The winner between Eraserhead and Deku versus Malik is Malik at 75.7%. Next matchup, we have Clint and Natasha from Marvel versus Bakugo and Kirishima, or Kiribaku, from My Hero Academia. I was wondering when Kiribaku would show up. Look at them in their little outfits. The winner between Clint and Natasha versus Kiribaku is... holy Clint and Natasha at 55.9%. Tumblr is not letting these anime boys breathe. Is it weird that I'm a little surprised that Clint and Natasha is doing as well as they are? Like, I know they're popular and I've always seen them as like a side ship, but maybe I underestimated them. Sorry. Okay, next matchup, we have Mycroft Holmes and Greg Lestrade from Sherlock versus Sirius Black and Remus Lupin from Harry Potter. Yeah, with the whole Marauders uptick, this is like Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb. There's no way in hell that Wolfstar is losing this. The winner between Mycroft and Lestrade versus Wolfstar is Wolfstar at 66.1%. Called it. For those who aren't super familiar with Marauder stuff, basically it's called Wolfstar because Remus can turn into a werewolf and Sirius is named after a star. Wolf Star. Next matchup, we have Amity Blight and Luz Noceda from the Owl House versus Hermione Granger and Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. Yeah, even if Hermione does have beefier AO3 stats, I really don't know if Tumblr would let it win over Lumity, you know? Well, the winner between Lumity versus Hermione is Lumity at 79%. Oh! Okay, next matchup, we have Jack Harkness and Ianto Jones from Torchwood versus Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson from One Direction. Oh, this is kind of like Tumblr versus Wattpad, a sort of battle of platforms, even though we're really supposed to be talking about AO3 here. It's like comparing apples and oranges here. Janto has been around a lot longer, and the people in AO3, I think, are going to pay more respects towards it. The winner between Jack and Ianto versus Harry and Louis is Jack and Ianto at 71.1%. Ooh, next matchup, we have Buck and Eddie from 911 versus Yuri Katsuki and Viktor Nikiforov, or Victory, from Yuri on Ice. Yeah, no, Victory is totally taking this one. They have to. Ugh, I miss them. I really gotta rewatch Yuri on Ice this holiday season. The winner between Buck and Eddie versus Victory is Victory at 69.6%. Nice. Next matchup, we have Child, aka Tartaglia, and Zhongli from Genshin Impact versus Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter, Drarry from Harry Potter. People are very hesitant to hand over these titles to Genshin Impact, and I can understand why. I mean, it is a newer piece of media, and the cast is very, very big, and the fan base is a little volatile. The winner between Chili versus Drarry is Drarry at 58.8%. A narrower margin than I expected. Genshin fans must have really wanted to see Chili come through. Next matchup, we have Kara and Lena, or Supercorp, from Supergirl versus Midoriya Izuku and Todoroki Shoto, aka Totodeku, from My Hero Academia. As much as I love Totodeku, I gotta hand this one to Supercorp. I still adore it, don't get me wrong, it's my favorite My Hero ship actually, but it just doesn't have the same punch, historically, that Supercorp does. The winner between Supercorp versus Totodeku is Supercorp at 68.8%. It was so close to being 69. Next matchup, it's the Battle of the French ships. We have damn it. Enjolras and Grantaire from Les Mis versus Adrian, aka Cat Noir, and Marinette, aka Ladybug, Ladrian, Lady Noir, Adrianette, Mersat, every iteration of the Love Square versus the Les Mis boys. I don't know, this one's a little harder because with the Les Mis boys, they made a big impact, but Lady Noir or Mersat, people are always frustrated about it or just kind of gave up on the show or just kind of hate watching it now. Maybe the Les Mis boys will win, actually. The winner between the Les Mis boys versus the Love Square is the Les Mis boys at 58.9%. Yeah, sorry Adrian, sorry Marinette, you're just not French enough for this. Actually, no, they lost. It is the most French thing to do. Next matchup, we have Bilbo Baggins and Thorin Oakenshield, Bilbo from The Hobbit versus Jung Jungkook and Park Jimin, Jikook from BTS. Anime and K-pop have not been doing so hot in this competition, so I will give this to Bilbo. The winner between Bilbo versus Jikook is Bilbo at 89.7%. Fatality Jikook. Oh, this one is bad. Okay, next matchup, we have Blackbeard and Steed Bonnet from Our Flag Means Death, Black Bonnet, versus Bucky and Steve Rogers from Marvel, Stucky. I don't know what to say. This is the hardest one since the Mulder and Scully and Destiel for me personally. Let's just get to the results then. The winner between Black Bonnet versus Stucky is Black Bonnet at 50.7%, with over 56,000 votes. Now, there is some tea present with this matchup. The Our Flag Means Death fans have asked Reddit and Twitter to join in. This isn't fair anymore. This has never been fair. Voter fraud has literally always been allowed. If you don't like it, fraud harder. Won by literally less than 1%. Yar har har. If I'd a nickel for every time there was pole drama involving them our flag means death fandom, yikes. Still the funniest poll, Stucky fans saying that they revolutionized shipping and then lost purely because they were pissed they weren't winning enough. Voter fraud, and then the mods saying fraud harder. One thing about the Our Flag Means Death fandom is that contained within it, there's a lot of 30-plus-year-olds with adult money here falling victim to internet drama that usually only really gets teenagers because they've never been in a fandom before. Honestly, it's beautiful you're never too old to irreparably damage your brain. That said, without the bot votes, Stucky still would have lost by 300-ish. It's funny how the Our Flag Means Death side is the one putting the most effort, but the Stucky side is the one frothing at the mouth in the notes. Two different kinds of overinvested. I want to study this poll in a petri dish. To snub both Stucky and Destiel, bonkers, pillars of Tumblr fandom right there. Our Flag Means Death, only a year old and could never come close to the cultural impact. I mean, remember, this isn't a Tumblr historical poll. This is AO3 historical poll. Not to say that Stucky doesn't have historical importance, because it does, and I like Stucky. But with Our Flag Means Death, it managed to climb super high, super quick on AO3, and that's impressive. Next matchup, we have Iwaizumi Hajime and Oikara Toru from Haikyuu, Iwa Oi versus James Potter and Lily Evans from Harry Potter. Jilly. That's what they're called. I was gonna say James Potter and Lily Evans from My Hero Academia for some reason. James and Lily weren't even that big in the Harry Potter series, let alone the Marauders fandom. Like, they're there and they're very present, but they're not like Wolfstar, you know? That might have just made a lot of people mad. I'm very sorry. I think they're very cute. I used to read fanfic about them, but I want to give this to Iwa Oi. The winner between Iwa Oi versus Jilly is Iwa Oi at 63.3%. Sorry, I just saw my boys. Oh! Next matchup, we have Keith and Shiro, Sheath from Voltron Legendary Defender versus Lan Zhan and Wei Ying or Wang Xian from Mo Dao Zu Shi or MDZS or the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, also known as the Untamed for the live action, aka the boys that broke AO3 twice. Once because of the fanfic Sexy Times with Wang Xian, which was a fanfic that had an obscene number of tags to the point where it was crashing the website for people, and AO3 had to come in and implement a tag limit, 75 tags only per fic. And the second time they caused trouble with AO3 was when an RPF fic about the actors who played them in the live action ended up circulating all over Chinese social media, and then the government censorship got involved and it caused a bunch of different fan wars, and eventually it led to AO3 being banned in China. It's called the 227 incident. The winner between Sheath versus Wang Xian is Wang Xian at 68%. Next matchup, we have Clint and Coulson from Marvel versus Rey and Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, Reylo from Star Wars. Thought, oh, Reylo's totally gonna get this, but they are considered fairly controversial, and one of the top works on AO3 is a fic that just says Reylo sucks in it, so perhaps because of that polarity with the ship, we're not gonna see it go any higher. The winner between Clint and Coulson versus Reylo is Clint and Coulson at 73.1%. This is really sucky. As round 2 heats up, reminder that there's a line between being annoying, honorable, joyous, part of fandom's legacy, and just being an asshole. Mobilize your followers, write propaganda meta in defense of your ship, bribe people to vote how you want with drabbles or doodles, make 12 accounts and vote on all of them, but don't send anon hate. Like, what's the #1 rule of the internet? Don't bring flame wars into the real world. Don't bring petty shipping drama into actual threats against real people. Next matchup, we have Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki, Sasunaru from Naruto versus Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, John Locke from Sherlock. I feel like people are a lot more nostalgic for Sasunaru versus John Locke, because John Locke really hasn't been that relevant in a long time, and I know that they were really big and that everybody knew about it. The whole John Locke conspiracy was a thing. The winner between Sasunaru versus John Locke is Sasunaru at 58.3%. Nah, Naruto and Sasuke is peak mid-2000s internet, pay your dues. John Locke lost? This was a a battle between two queerbait ships. I voted for Sasunaru. I'm not even sorry. Those two are far more unhinged for each other than John Locke. And the other evil is defeated. 16-year-old me, this is for you, queen. Next matchup, we have Wilbur Soot and Technoblade and Tommy Innit and Phil Watson from the Dream SMP versus Pepper Potts and Tony Stark, Pepperoni, from Marvel. I think Pepperoni's gonna take this because Marvel's been doing pretty well, minus the Stucky upset. And the winner between the Dream SMP boys versus Pepperoni is... No, the Minecraft boys took this one at 51.3%. So again, pretty close, but not close enough. Next matchup, we have Steve McGarrett and Danny Dano Williams from Hawaii Five-0 versus Dean Winchester and Sam Winchester, Wincest from Supernatural. You know what they say, incest is wincest. Oh my god. Well, let's just get into it then. The winner between Steve and Danny versus Wincest is Wincest at 55.2%. See, I don't ship the bros, but this one is funny. Not the nefarious Wincesties beating my pure and holy McDano. Can't believe this made it through and not Destiel on the Destiel website. Wincest Wednesday, we didn't show. Lads, if Destiel cannot win, we can at least take W down with USB. IDK who Steve and Danny are, but they at least have different last names. Well, it's Wincest, not Lucest. Next matchup, we have Percy and Annabeth Percabeth from Percy Jackson and the Olympians versus Merlin and Arthur Merther from Merlin. I may not have been in the Merlin fandom, but I do know that those boys were pretty powerful as a ship. But Percabeth's my whole childhood. I love them so much. Well, let's see what happens. The winner of Percabeth versus Merther is Merther at 50.6%. That is so close. You almost had it, Percabeth. I just realized they both have a dark-haired character and a blonde character. Bah, this is so cute. I refuse to vote in this poll because these both are the OTPs. Glad to see everyone else have a hard time too. They're so close, it's incredible. Yeah. Holy sh*, Merther beat Percabeth. This was a poll between my past self and current self. Hot damn. Next matchup, we have Levi Ackerman and Irvin Smith Oruri from Attack on Titan versus Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, Stony from Marvel. I remember back in the day on Tumblr seeing all of those Stony comics where like their dads and Peter Parker's their adopted son. It was really cute. I honestly don't know if I can find them again. You probably could if you dug around a bit, but Ruri! I'm more of a Stucky fan, but I don't hate Stony. They're just kind of like there for me, but I really love Ruri. In terms of impact, though, I think Stony has had more of a historical impact. Like, Rui's great, but I can't think of something that totally shook the fandom with this ship other than Irvin's death. Well, the winner between Urui versus Stony is... yeah, Stony, 62.5%. Next matchup, we have Adora and Catra from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power versus Dazai and Chuya, or Psokoku, from Bungo Stray Dogs. This one is a little tricky because I think that Cachadora has had more of an impact historically for AO3, but Sokoku fans are not to be trifled with, and they've been consistently at the top of those AO3 top ship lists for a hot sec. Well, the winner between Cachadora versus Sokoku is Cachadora at 75.3%. That was not even close. Wow, sorry anime boys. Next matchup, we have Frank and Gerard from My Chemical Romance versus Bakugo and Midoriya Bakudeku from My Hero Academia. The winner between Frank and Gerard, Ferrard, versus Bakudeku is Ferrard at 55.6%. Yeah, no, not super strong feelings for this matchup. Oh, somebody big has entered the chat. All right, next matchup, we have Captain Hook and Emma Swan, or Captain Swan from Once Upon a Time, versus Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, Hannagram from Hannibal. Once upon a time I was falling in love, but Captain Swan is falling apart. Nothing I can do, Hannagram is taking this part. The winner of Captain Swan versus Hannagram is Hannagram at 80.8%. Oh, another huge heavy hitter, damn! Okay, next matchup, we have Rodney McKay and John Shepard from Stargate Atlantis versus Derek Hale and Stiles Stilinski from Teen Wolf. Steric. First Hannagram, and now Steric. Yeah, rest in peace, Rodney and John. The winner between Rodney and John versus Steric is Steric at 69.5%. Nice. Next matchup, we have Steve Harrington and Eddie Munson, Steady from Stranger Things, versus Kim Namjoon and Kim Seokjin, Namjoon from BTS. This is funny because both ships are kind of like parents in their respective groups. Like we have Steady and like all the kids in Stranger Things, and then Namjoon and the rest of BTS. It's like a PTA battle, let's go! But yeah, no, again, K-pop has not been faring very well in this poll, so we're gonna give this to Steady. The winner between Steady versus Namjoon is, yeah, Steady at 83.5%. We have Ian Gallagher and Mickey Milkovich from Shameless versus Keith and Lance Clance from Voltron Legendary Defender. Gallovich versus Clance. This is hard. Shameless has had a really big impact on AO3, but at the same time, Clance ended up stirring up a lot of trouble everywhere, and they do have a sizable collection of fics on AO3, I would know. Let's find out. The winner between Ian and Mickey versus Keith and Lance Clance is Ian and Mickey at 51.2%! Over 23,000 votes. Oh no, what do the notes say? Crazy that Clance lost. Like, y'all, literally know your herstory. I have permanent brain damage from Clance. Clance losing is funny as hell to me. IDK the other ship though. Yeah, maybe a lot of people just wanted to see Clance lose. I wouldn't blame them, honestly. The downfall of Clance is canon king. I still adore Clance. I find myself going back and rereading some of my favorite Clance fics from back in the day, but I will also take every opportunity to razz them, because I can. Next matchup, we have a big romantic ship and a big platonic ship. It's Kirk and Spock, Spirk from Star Trek, versus Peter and Tony from Marvel. The winner between Spirk and Peter and Tony is Spirk at 85.4%. Next matchup, we have Technoblade and Tommy Innit from Dream SMP versus Aziraphale and Crowley from Good Omens. The Ineffable Husbands, they're here. And people are really dying after season 2. This isn't even a question in my head. Like, I would not be surprised if they were the #1 ship on AO3 next year, because the number of fics that were and currently are being written about the Ineffable Husbands after that kiss in season 2 and everything that went down, they're gonna skyrocket up that list. I'm placing my bets on the ship stock market. The winner between Technoblade and Tommy Innit versus Aziraphale and Crowley is the Ineffable Husbands at 86.8%. Next matchup, we have the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler from Doctor Who versus Dream and George Not Found, aka Dream Not Found from the Dream SMP / Minecraft YouTube. The winner between 10 Rose and Dream Not Found is 10 Rose at 90.2%. That was a slam dunk for Doctor Who. Next matchup, we have the Evil Queen, Regina Mills, and Emma Swan, Swan Queen from Once Upon a Time, versus Jong Jong-kook and Kim Taehyung, Taekook from BTS. The winner between Swan Queen and Taekook is Swan Queen at 90%. That is crazy, because Taekook is the top BTS ship, and then Swan Queen is one of the top femme/ships. Let's go, lesbians, let's go! Swan Queen sweep, MILFs of all time. We're winning 90-10 out of 10,000 votes to the K-poppies. Lesbians, we've made it! And for the final matchup of round 2, we have Blaine Anderson and Kurt Hummel Klain from Glee versus Min Yoon-gi, Suga, and Park Ji-min, Yoonmin from BTS. It seems like there is an agenda to get all the BTS ships out, so without further ado, the winner between Klain versus Yoonmin is Klain at 81.6%. Boo, justice for Yoonmin. Come on now, my boys deserved better. Klain owns my heart forever. Sorry, I don't make the rules. I'm just gay. The other couples deserve to be crushing as hard as Klain. You've all forgotten the deep magic. Told myself I wouldn't spite vote in these polls, but I hate Klain. Sorry, surprised BTS is losing this hard though. What happened, K-pop girlies? Yeah, what did happen? Even after people are like, yo, let's not vote for the K-pop people on Twitter would come through. Do we vote for the ship that influenced fandom history more, or the ship we actually like more? This poll is a celebration of fandom history, fandom creativity, and fandom labor. However, in the spirit of fandom and chaos, you can vote however you want. What are we going to do? Come to your house and stop you? And other people can argue about what metric we should all vote by. What are we going to do? Go to their houses and stop them? And you can be unconvinced. What are we going to do? Go to your brain and stop you? Ultimately, it's a set of buttons. Up to you which one you click for whatever reasons you like. How does the moderator team feel about all these people coming from Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook? Bizarre, right? Listen, if you have 500 beautiful daughters and you walk them all through getting Tumblr accounts and voting for your ship in the space of 3 hours, that's none of my business. I'm honestly finding it so funny how many people have sent in asks trying to frame this whole thing as somehow problematic. Guys, it's a Tumblr poll. There are no consequences. I say this with love. Chill. Every time a ship I enjoy personally loses, I banish another member of the mod team to my evil lair, actually. Please keep this in mind. I personally think the fandoms that do voter fraud should get extra points. They have demonstrated their passion. This is actually part of our rationale for allowing it. Polls are won by the people who vote in them. Someone who sits down and makes 70 Tumblr accounts and votes on all of them has put in 70 times as much passion, dedication, and insanity as someone who sees a poll and clicks a button. It would be unfair to them not to reward that. Is bribery via free fan art allowed? Genuine. You can do anything you want forever. Which is to say, yes, absolutely. Bribe people to vote how you want with doodles or drabbles. Promise to write a fic or reveal an AMV or something if your ship wins. We love creativity. We love encouraging people to make stuff. We love the competitive and creative spirit. We love campaigning. And now we enter round 3.
Round 3. Fight!
First matchup, we have Fox Mulder and Dana Scully from The X-Files versus Wilbur Soot and Tommy Innit from the Dream SMP, or Minecraft YouTube. Yeah, it's time to say goodbye to the Minecraft boys here. The winner between Mulder and Scully and Wilbur and Tommy is Mulder and Scully at 82.6%. Next matchup, we have Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood from Shadowhunters, Malik versus Clint and Natasha from Marvel. Ooh, okay. I'm pretty sure this is where Clint and Natasha meet their end, because Malik not only is a Tumblr darling, but they also have a very dedicated fan base on AO3. The winner of Malik versus Widowhawk is Malik at 67.4%. Okay, next matchup, we have Sirius Black and Remus Lupin, Wolfstar from Harry Potter or the Marauders fandom, versus Amity Blight and Luz Nocida from the Owl House, Lumity. This is hard! I think Wolfstar is gonna take this. I think. I'm wondering if some people will vote against Wolfstar just out of spite, because I know some people don't like the Marauders fandom. It's the gay wizards versus witches battle here. All right, the winner of Wolfstar versus Lumity is Lumity at 58.6%. I'm surprised not as many people voted in this matchup versus previous ones, but let's hear the rationale. Crap, y'all can't do this to me. Wolfstar, but Lumity beloved. Vote Lumity because Wolfstar has too much pining. It hurts me. We hate J.K. Rowling, etc., but J.K. Rowling hates Sirius and Remus, so I feel like it cancels out. Their impact on fandom was huge. Lumity sweep! Them. The Sapphics need to kill. Lumity, kill them! Bang, bang, bang. Another pair of fandom titans against the Owl House? Wild. Next matchup, we have Jack Harkness and Deonto Jones, Jonto from Torchwood, versus Yuri Katsuki and Viktor Nikiforov, Victory from Yuri on Ice. Part of me thinks that Janto will take this, unfortunately, because they have been around for a lot longer, but Yuri on Ice. These matchups are getting more and more difficult. I can't pinpoint what I think anymore. And they're both canon too. Well, let's just see what happens. The winner between Janto versus Victory is Victory at 55.7%. Fairly close. That's a little surprising. I kind of was expecting Victory to kick the dust in this one, but I'm very happy they didn't, even though I do like Janto. Will Victory make it to victory? Let's find out. Next matchup, we have Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter, Drarry from Harry Potter, versus Kara and Lena, Supercorp from Supergirl. I think it might be a similar thing where people will just not vote for the Harry Potter ships out of spite. Plus, Drarry has been slipping in the rankings, and Supercorp is, again, always very consistent in the top femme/slash ships. And yet another instance of both ships having a dark-haired character and a blondie. The winner of Drarry versus Supercorp is Supercorp at 57.6%. Next matchup, we have Enjolras and Grantaire from Les Mis versus Bilbo Baggins and Thorin Oakenshield, Bilbo from The Hobbit. I have no idea which way this one's gonna go. They're at the exact same level of tier and ranking in my brain. Like, they came out around the same time, they're both tragic. Do you hear the people sing? Well, let's see. The winner between the Les Mis boys versus Bilbo is the Les Mis boys at 50.5%. So close. If I had seen this earlier, I would have made hundreds of accounts to vote for Bag and Shield. Can't vote, but let it be known I would have for Bilbo and Thorin on the basis that I remember the Les Mis time on here and they were annoying. Let's go! Get Hobbit heads! Alright, next matchup. We have Blackbeard and Steed Bonnet, Black Bonnet from Our Flag Means Death, versus Iwaizumi Hajime and Oikara Toru, Iwa Oi from Haikyuu. Yeah, sorry, these anime boys are no longer going to be ruling the court. They're not making it to nationals because of the pirates. Alright, the winner between Black Bonnet versus Iwa Oi is Black Bonnet at 60.5%. Proof that everyone on anime Twitter in 2020 are now employed. Triple homo spike pass and kill them, Oikawa! I found this poll too late to vote, but it's so sad that Iwaizumi and Oikawa are now known as random anime men. It was the 2010s and the sports anime world was booming, you wouldn't understand. Not even my favorite Haikyuu ship, but it's so funny how the mighty have fallen. Good game, Haikyuus. I gotta admit, you've got me interested in your show now. Hell yeah! That is the beauty of this poll. Like, even if you are voting against another ship, you can be like, hey, why do people like this ship? Like, what makes people so invested to vote for them? And then you do your research, you talk to their side, and they're like, oh, well, hey, if you want to get interested, then here's some info. And then there you go, you expand your horizons, and you have a new show or piece of media to get into, and a new ship to like. Black Bonnet claims another victim. They're against Wang Xian next. Yeah, Pirate Babes, I don't know if you're gonna win against them. I'm sorry. My boys! Okay. Next matchup, we have Lanchan and Wei Ying, or Wang Xian, from Moldao Zusher, or MDCS, or The Untamed, Master of Demonic Cultivation, lots of names here, versus Clint and Coulson from Marvel. Yeah, time to say goodbye, Marvel. The Danmei fans are not gonna be letting go on this one. The winner between Wang Xian versus Clint and Coulson is Wang Xian at 66.1%. Alexa, play wangxian.mp3, please. Next matchup, we have Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki, Sasunaru from Naruto, versus Wilbur and Technoblade and Tommy Innit and Phil Watson from the Dream SMP or Minecraft YouTube. Yeah, again, I think it's time we're saying goodbye to the Minecraft boys here. They fought well, but in terms of historical impact, Sasunaru just has a lot more going on. I did not watch an obscene number of Every Time We Touch AMVs when I was 12 of these two for them to lose to Minecraft today. The winner of Sasunaru versus the Minecraft Found Family Boys is Sasunaru at 70.6%. GG, my guys. Next matchup, we have Dean Winchester and Sam Winchester, or Wincest from Supernatural, versus Merlin and Merthyr from, I was gonna say Arthur, no, Merlin, Jesus. The incest broke my brain a bit, sorry. Are people gonna back Wincest for the lulz, or are they gonna flock to Merthyr because it's not Wincest? We shall see. The winner between Wincest versus Merthyr is Merthyr at 65.7%. Thank God. I mean, ship who you want, but Merthyr. Definitely agree that if Wincest was going to lose to anyone, it would be Merthyr. They've earned it. True, lol, you fought a good fight, Wincest. Be gone, Wincest. I was going to be like, but I read the disclaimer and thought, well, yeah, I guess you can't argue that it was prominent at one point in time. Huge loss for incest. Come on now. Too bad for Wincest, but look how far we made it. They don't call it lose-cest. This gave me a laugh today, people in this ship. A ship of fools, but a fun one. Next matchup, we have Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, Stony from Marvel, versus Adora and Catradora from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I'm still kind of tickled that Stony made it farther than Stucky, but I think this is where Stony's gonna tap out. Looking at these pictures, they're almost like mirrors of each other. That's freaky. And the winner between Stony versus Catradora is Catradora at 73.3%. Next matchup, we have Frank and Gerard from My Chemical Romance, Ferrard, versus Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, Hanagram from Hannibal. Hanagram's gonna take this one. The winner between Ferrard versus Hanagram is Hanagram at 80.6%. Let's go, Cannibal Husbands, let's go. People are getting mad in the tags. Chill, it's about AO3, calm down. How am I supposed to choose? Ferrard was a historic event, sorry. Not people saying this was their 9/11 in the tags. What the We died with dignity and hard. Next matchup, we have Derek and Styles, Steric from Teen Wolf, versus Steve and Eddie, Steady from Stranger Things. Yeah, my Steady bestie is not going to be happy about this because he also really likes Steric and read a lot of Steric back in the day. They're both Supernatural-esque boyfriends, question mark? You might disagree with me on this one, but very similar vibes for these two. Like, not necessarily with personalities or the general stories of their shows, but I don't know, it's just something about them that it's kind of on the same wavelength. Let's see who came out on top though. The winner between Steric versus Steady is Steric at 56.1%. Maybe it's just their ship names. Steric, Steady. Steric has been around for a lot longer, and they were acknowledged by the actors and the showrunners. Eddie, unfortunately, we only had a handful of scenes of them together, and then he was only in one season. With this matchup, Steric was just the meteor option. Coughing Baby versus Coughing Baby. Man, Steady was a blink and you'll miss it ship. Steric was overhyped connection-wise by their fans, but they had legit interesting dynamics. I don't care about Teen Wolf, I'm just sick of seeing Eddie Munson. He will not live to see another poll. I will do what I must. Acknowledge Stranger Things. This is history. I don't think Stranger Things is even old enough to count, let alone Eddie and Steve. Sorry, I did not go through the trenches of Teen Wolf Steric for Steady to try something. Some of these polls are insane. Think history. Third pillar of Omegaverse. There's a lot of Omegaverse for Teen Wolf. Next matchup, we have Ian and Mickey from Shameless versus Kirk and Spock from Star Trek. It was nice getting to know you, Ian and Mickey. There's absolutely no shame in losing to Spurk. I hope you know that. The winner between Ian and Mickey versus Kirk and Spock is Kirk and Spock at 83.7%. Old man Yowie. Next matchup, we have Aziraphale and Crowley from Good Omens, the Ineffable Husbands, versus the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler, 10 Rose from Doctor Who. Like, Doctor Who has that whole new movie, and then Good Omens had their new season, but I don't know. The winner between the Ineffable Husbands versus 10 Rose is the Ineffable Husbands at 56.4%. Over 33,000 votes. People came in for this matchup. It's tenant on tenant violence, which means he's winning either way. David Tennant and his blonde versus David Tennant and his blonde. For our final matchup of round 3, we have the evil queen, Regina Mills, and Emma Swan, Swan Queen from Once Upon a Time, versus Blaine Anderson and Kurt Hummel, Klaine from Glee. I don't know why this matchup is so funny to me. Like, is it because of the picture choices? We have Swan Queen over here looking super intense, like, you'll never touch us, you won't get away with this. And then Klaine is over here like, I have a crown now. The winner between Swan Queen versus Klaine is Swan Queen at 68.8%. Here we go with round 4.
Round 4. Fight!
First matchup, we have Mulder and Scully from The X-Files versus Magnus and Alec from Shadowhunters. Skolder versus Malik. The winner of Skolder versus Malik is Skolder at 74.2%. Next matchup, we have Amity and Luz Lumity from The Owl House versus Victor and Yuri Victory from Yuri on Ice. I keep saying it, but this one hurts. They're not gonna make history. The winner between Lumity versus Victory is Yuri and Victor at 52.9%. As much as I love Lumity, they are so freaking precious. Victory has a very special place in my heart because they were there at a point in my life where I was really not having a great time my sophomore year of college, and every week I would watch Yuri on Ice, and these were there. The finale came out a bit after my 21st birthday and around Christmas time. The fact that both of their pictures have them kissing too, that's so sweet. They both broke social media with their kisses, so we have to give them both that. Next matchup, we have Kara and Lena from Supergirl Supercorp versus Enjolter, the Les Mis boys. This, I think, is where the Les Mis boys will die, because if any femme/slash ship is making it to the quarterfinals, it's gonna be Supercorp. The winner between Supercorp versus Enjolter is... Okay, it was so close. So close to the point where we can't even see what the exact percentage is, but Kara and Lena is highlighted, so Supercorp won. The blondes and their brunettes neck and neck. Supercorp may be WLW, Woman Love Woman, but Enjolter is Yuri, not the post-results reblogs with scenes of Enjolter's dead. Oh, this next matchup is the chaotic canon gays. Alright, we have Blackbeard and Steed Bonnet, Black Bonnet from Our Flag Means Death versus Lan Zhan and Wei Wuxian, Wei Ying from Mo Dao Zushi, MDCS, The Untamed, Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Wang Xian. No, it's great because, again, they're both canon and they're both kind of freaky. I just realized both of these pairings have had erotic scenes involving swords. The people who don't know either of these IPs are probably looking at me like I'm nuts. Alright, so the winner between Black Bonnet versus Wang Xian is Wang Xian at 53.3%. Gentlebeard is beautiful, but nothing will top the impact that Sexy Times with Wang Xian had on AO3 specifically. Finally, the evil has been defeated. I'm tired of seeing people in the notes who didn't even read it bash them for something they heard, or saying, I can't believe some random Asian gays won. Those randos have a New York Times best-selling novel and like 5 adaptations, are very canon and not queer-coded, which I've also seen said, and have been around for like 7 years now. It took the Untamed to beat the Our Flag Means Death couple. I'm crying. Still sad about Our Flag Means Death, but congrats Wang Xian, you did great. We're a new show and we made it this far. Exactly. Look, I like Our Flag Means Death, but Wang Xian somehow just rewires your brain. Yeah, I can vouch for that. Who's committing voter fraud now? Next matchup, we have Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki, Sasunaru from Naruto, versus Merlin and Arthur Merther from Merlin. It's time to say goodbye to Merther! With respect, of course, but I think the anime fans are gonna come through with this one. The winner between Sasunaru and Merther is Sasunaru at 56%. People in the notes saying we lost to an anime, you lost to the anime. Merlin fans are being so weird in the notes, saying they lost their faith in humanity and can't believe Merlin lost to that. Sorry your boring canceled show no one besides you has thought about since 2012 lost to one of the most popular shonen anime of all time. God damn! Murder fans screaming pissing themselves because Naruto fans call their faves white British twinks. Is that not what they are? Baby's first slash ship versus the reincarnated rival slash soulmates ship of all time. These are the best, worst ships of all time. I always knew it would end like this, murdered before fulfilling our destiny in true Arthur fashion. By weirdly aggressive Naruto fans. GG though, for real. We have Adora and Catra Dora from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, versus Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, Hanagram from Hannibal. This one's tricky. Okay, so the winner between Catra Dora versus Hanagram is Hanagram at 51.7%. Next matchup, we have Derek and Styles, Steric from Teen Wolf versus Kirk and Spock, Spurk from Star Trek. Both of these ships have a decent amount of mpreg. I mean, Steric is iconic, but Spurk is iconic. The winner of Steric versus Spurk is Spurk at 83.6%. That was a big wipeout. And for our final matchup of round 4, we have Aziraphale and Crowley, the ineffable husbands from Good Omens, versus the evil queen Regina Mills and Emma Swan, Swan Queen from Once Upon a Time. It was nice knowing you, Swan Queen. The winner between the ineffable husbands and Swan Queen is the ineffable husbands at 70.8%. I suspect the polls may be rigged on grounds of my personal OTP not winning anymore. Please address these concerns. RIP happens to the best of us. Have you considered going back in time and telling your past self to do more voter fraud? Okay, we are now in the quarterfinals.
Round 5. Fight!
We have Mulder and Scully from The X-Files versus Victor and Yuri from Yuri on Ice. Ugh! I like these ships a lot. This hurts. I really gotta go with Scolder though. In my heart, it feels right, but my heart also goes out to Victory. Let's just rip off the band-aid. The winner between Mulder and Scully, Scolder, versus Victor and Yuri, Victory, is Mulder and Scully at 61.1%. Victory, treat yourself to some Katsudan. You've earned it. Next matchup, we have Kara and Lena, Supercorp from Supergirl, versus Lan Zhan and Wei Ying, Wang Xian from Modao Zushi. I like how we're changing the pictures for this round. Refreshes the brain rot a bit, you know? The winner between Supercorp versus Wang Xian is Wang Xian at 50.2%. This is the second narrowest margin we've had since that 50-50 earlier. Okay, some Supercorp fans being real racist in the tags. Yeah, as a fan of both of these ships, that is disappointing. He can go to sleep now. That is so cute. Someone actually drew them sleeping in the notes. I love that. We did it. We did it. It's 9 o'clock. Wei Ying, sleep. Lan 8 p.m. bedtime Wang Ji versus Wei refreshes the page every 10 seconds until they win Wu Xian. Oh wow, I thought my girlies had it for sure. Yay, my boys. But yeah, in terms of the impact, it's not even close. I think it's a great semi-finalist lineup, to be honest. They are all historically iconic. Not even my country's elections have this level of drama. We did it, you guys. We earned the right to be destroyed by Mulder and Scully. Next matchup, we have Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki Sasunaru from Naruto versus Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, Hanagram from Hannibal. Baby's first yaoi ship versus Cannibal Husbands. The winner between Sasunaru versus Hanagram is Sasunaru at 51.2%. Die, all of you, die. Y'all know I'm Hanagram forever and ever, but these little fruits are historical, okay? Like, it's literally them. Why pit bad against each other? I'm bawling. Hanagram, no! Oh, well, we lost to Naruto, therefore I'm fine. I'm sorry, but nothing beats straight people being equally confused over why Naruto and Sasuke weren't endgame. Like, that's peak hilarious. Sasuke could eat a guy, but Hannibal could never perfect Chidori. For the last matchup of the quarterfinals, we have Kirk and Spock, Spurk from Star Trek, versus Aziraphale and Crowley, the ineffable husbands from Good Omens. Ineffable husbands, you did great, you made it far, but it's time to make way for the father of Slash. And the winner between Spurk versus the Ineffable husbands is Spurk at 53.9%. That is way closer than I expected. Holy nearly 58,000 votes and over 33,000 notes? Oh no. When Neil Gaiman ships Kirk and Spock more than his own characters? Neil Gaiman, the author of Good Omens, voted for Kirk and Spock over Aziraphale and Crowley. That is so funny. For those who don't know, he has a Tumblr account. Diane Duane voted on here too? And now we enter the semifinals. Thank you, by the way, to the mod team for putting out this message. I've seen this attitude getting really pervasive in fandom in the past few years. Another reminder as we gear up for semifinals, remember, if you have time to send death threats, you have time to do voter fraud. If you have time for death threats, you have time for voter fraud. First matchup, we have Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, Scolder from The X-Files, versus Lan Zhan and Wei Ying, Wang Xian from 魔道祖师, MDZS, The Untamed. Both of these ships mean a lot, but it's gonna go to Scolder. The winner between Scolder versus Wang Xian is Scolder at 53.7%. MDZS fandom, you put up one hell of a fight. Good luck against Sasunaru for third place. Also, I'm pretty sure Spurk will sweep in the final, but losing to them, a literal 50 to 60-year-old pairing, is an honorable death. At least we lost to actual fandom history and to the only queer straight couple ever. Good fight, everyone. Very respectable Wang Xian result. I had to vote X-Files. I am old. I watched it live. It shaped me. They were the first ship I perceived all on my own. I'm A's and had never thought about why characters would pair up, etc. They belong together. Anyway, Wang Xian won't mind as long as they can go be kinky. That's actually a way closer margin than I expected for how iconic the X-Files is. Never seen it, but I know it's a huge piece of fan culture. Wang Xian, we fought the good fight. Congratulations to those alien guys. Looking forward to the big final showdown. And for the matchup to determine which ship is going to join Mulder and Scully in the finale, we have Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki from Naruto, Sasunaru versus Kirk and Spock, Spurk from Star Trek. Father versus son, it's beautiful. The winner between Sasunaru versus Spurk is Spurk at 70.9%. Flashbacks to that one Yaoi poll where they pitted Spurk and Sasunaru and Spurk lost. Yeah, no, that was crazy. Old man Yaoi W. At least they lost to their fathers. This is a respectable defeat, sorta, kinda. Go Spurk, the primordial ship. You're all so f***ing lame. I hope your stupid spacemen die. If someone tries to tell me about the history, I don't care. What the Good night, sweet prince. So now we have the finale, the fight for gold, with Mulder and Scully versus Kirk and Spock. And then the battle for bronze with Sasunaru and Wang Xian.
Final round. Fight!
Alright, are you ready? The winner of the AO3 Top Ships Tournament is Spock and Kirk at 67.3%. I will take it. Both deserve the final, but in the end, the mothership of all fandoms prevailed. Reblocking for a bit of fandom history to boldly win polls where no one has won before. But wait, we're still not done. We gotta see who won between Sasunaru and Wang Xian. Danmei versus Anime. Anyway, it's gonna be close. The winner of Wang Xian versus Sasunaru is Wang Xian at 53%. Hot damn. I think the Danmei fans, for one, really assembled on this. And also, again, the fact that Wang Xian broke AO3 twice. It kind of feels like the ship you were really into when you were younger versus the ship you really appreciate as an adult. No respect for yaoi history. Why did I hear that in Lan Qiren's voice? Yeah, I gotta go with the one that, changed shit outside of fandom. Even though I voted Sasunaru, this makes sense. This feels like witnessing a sprightly young lad kick a frail old man down a flight of stairs. Third place, this is insane. The top two are literally decades old. Oh my god, that was a lot. Yeah, I might be shipped out for the rest of the day. or week. Oh yeah, I just remember that one of my favorite AO3 fics of all time is a Wang Xian Star Trek AU. Alien AU. Well, thank you very much for going through the results of this poll with me. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Were there any wins or losses that shook you to your core? If you think one ship should have won over the other, feel free to explain your reasoning in the comments. If you did participate in this tournament, I hope you had a good time, and a huge round of applause to all of the mods and the team who were behind this entire blog and tournament in the first place. I know it must have been a lot between organizing everything and compiling all the data and dealing with people. So from one fanfic lover to all you guys, massive kudos, truly. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!